You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
You think you are free, that your decisions are your own. Tell me honestly, did you really choose this path? Or was it chosen for you? Your father, with every triumph, every failure, was it not his decisions that brought you here? Has his path not sealed your own? Marked out in golden bricks below your very feet. The path is set. Keep your head up. Keep your weapon loaded. Follow the battle brick road.
I remember childhood without any friends. Just me and my imagination. So I made up my own friend. Crim's my best bud. I don't know what I'd do without him. But there's some things we should keep locked away. Not the imaginary friends, but the imaginary fiends. Crim, where are you?
There is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG, lose myself, think, oh my God, just think of this world. Just think of all the planets I can visit, all the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go. I'm so excited to go there. And you know, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every conceivable opportunity so you can current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Pronouns! Gender ambiguity! Current day Californian! Because that's all we know! Because we're so boring!
What is up, all of you fine people? Do let me know if the volume sounds okay for you guys, because I just went and turned it up because sometimes I know it's kind of quiet. It is great to see you guys. This is SHANTH ENJETI Art. I am, of course, SHANTH ENJETI, and I am painting like a maniac and working like crazy on a lot of different stuff. Fortunately, the printing of Nosfero is not something I have to be physically involved with, so that's going on in, at a printer here in the United States, and they're going to let me know. The cool thing about this printer is not only do they take an incredible amount of time to print these things at a high level of quality. Do I have, like, a piece of, like, freaking, I swear I have, like, it's like, I swear... Like, whenever I'm, like, my wife has long hair, and so, like, whenever I go anywhere, I've got, like, if I put my hat down for a second, there's hair, man. But what do you call it? But, so, yeah, so they're doing their work, and they almost got it. Is that it? Did I get it? Just watch this for 20 minutes and tell me if you get bored. But yeah, so they're working on it. They pack these things so wonderfully. They plastic wrap every, 10 or 15 copies, and they stack them with cardboard, and they put all these corners in. So they're doing what they do. I'm doing what I do, just making cool stuff. But I'm dying to have the actual book in my hand. So let's see who we got in this chat here. Let me see who we've got. We've got some members I know in the house. Let's see who we've got. First off, we have Green Laser. It's great to see you. We have, of course, channel member Jeremy Burtz. It is great to see you, Jeremy Burtz. We've got Tammy D in the house. We've got Romy in the house. It's great to see you. We've got Bretsky the Great here in the house. We've got, I always pronounce it wrong. Is it Halder 6480? I hope I got that right. Let's see here. We got the Green Laser already, but it's still great to see you. Bretsky the Great saying bow again. We've got John. Yes, I am alive. That is right. The rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Let's see who else. We got Tammy D again here, just double checking and make sure I didn't miss anybody. We've got Michael Bancroft. I can't imagine why you want to watch this stream. Let's see here. We've got Aetherline here. It is great to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. We have got Geekazu in the house. Geekazu, it's great to see you. And we have got Comics Legend. The As cartoon needs a beard. I know. But you know what's funny is I was trying to do his babyface icon, so I wasn't sure what to do. So I'm always working on it. Frankly, O0, it is great to see you. Good day, everyone. Good day to you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Inconceivable. I love that. I love that Wally Shawn hanging out there. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing here. Let's talk a little bit about the joys of working in traditional media. So I posted this online not long ago. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the Second Chance campaign in terms of a different cover. But I'm going to keep you guys posted here, so make sure, you're subscribed and all that stuff, which I know most of you guys are. Because I'm pretty sure, knock on wood, I'm pretty sure the next campaign I'm going to do is going to be oh gosh, I am agonizing over this. Right now I'm leaning every day. I lean a different direction, but right now I'm leaning towards Spring Ball and putting that campaign out because it's to me it's kind of like the next. It's sort of a logical step next, and a lot of people are excited about it. Been asking me about it, but it will be the Second Chance campaign won't be until I get all of these shipped out, and I will make sure people have ample notice for that. So don't you worry about it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do a different cover, but honestly, for all you know, I may go in and work on some of the interiors. It will not be the exact same book, and it will say second printing on it, but every time I release this book, there'll be something a little bit different. John, I knew you were going to go there, John. I knew you were going to go there. So let's talk a little bit about the joys of traditional media. So if you guys look really closely in that area of this painting, and you look at where the now sort of whited out figure of Ella is right now, you should notice, if you look above her face, another Ella face that's inside of the head that you see right there. That is what happens when you decide to move a figure for compositional reasons in traditional media. You have to move things down. But I had this moment when I was working on this piece that I kind of looked at it and I needed to step back from it because there was something about the flow of how everything was coming together that wasn't working for me. And I looked at it and I went, okay, let me see, what is it? And I went through all these different things. And the main thing is I needed some anchor detail for this corner right here. I don't know if you guys can see that all right, but for this corner right in here. And I wanted to do something with trees, and I've always got this, whenever I deal with things that are time-based, much like the Lucent is, I always tend to reference in my work, any chance I get, a bristlecone pine tree. I don't know if you guys like those, but that is a big thing for me. What's up, Dan? How are you doing? It is great to see you, brother. How have you been? And I look at this sort of stuff, and I want to make sure that I give, this painting something that makes it timeless. And it's not just about, when I do a painting for somebody, I want them to connect with it. And it's funny because what we're doing in this little corner of the interwebs here, whether, the Iron Age or Comicsgate, the thing about it is that we're making a space for where people who are fans of good artwork and who are passionate about, the art form and moving it forward, where we can sort of meet each other as fans, and then where creators can meet other creators. And something really cool that happened that Michael was mentioning in the chat is when I do a cover for somebody, obviously I'm going to post it on Twitter. I'm going to talk about, the process and the artwork. And a buddy of mine who I just did some work for not long ago, Razor Fist, got introduced to Michael's work as a result of me posting this. He's like, oh, here's a guy who did a cover for me. And he's doing a cover for this. I want to go check it out. I love that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I get most excited about in terms of the opportunities that we have here inside of this space. And just one thing leads to another. It's kind of funny, and that kind of goes back to one of the things on the thumbnail that I kind of like. And I heard from, believe it or not, Mike Tyson's therapist. And I believe me, if you've never seen this guy, quite an intense story, not for the faint of heart, but I'm a huge fight fan and a huge fan of Tyson and the work he's done on himself. And, of course, everything he learned from Custom Auto. But this is the thing that kind of got me about it. He uses this expression, and he says, when you're trying to work on where you're going with your work and what you're trying to do in your life, one of the most important things you do is you got to get hip to your hustle. And I thought it was just an amazing kind of way of putting it. And what he said is, they're the things that you do that kind of take you, out of yourself and that aren't good for you. And the things that you say, whatever, it's no big deal or whatever. And I've thought about that a lot. And I think that where I am now and the stuff I've been doing in Comicsgate, would not really have been possible if I hadn't done a lot of work on that, and work I'm still kind of doing. You know, it's if you're, you know, a true, according to Hoyle, introvert, it can be, you know, it can be tough to get yourself out there, right? And one of the things I've been thinking a lot about is that if you're an introvert, and if you're the kind of person who is like, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but kind of sometimes it's just like, holy cow, you know, this is nuts. Look at all this excitement, all this stuff. I always say to people, I can handle a tough time better than I can handle a party. And but it's I always say to myself, but I want to be out there, and I want to be around you guys, and I want to hang out, man. And it's one of those things where I say to myself, you know, if you're feeling like you're feeling like you want to stream, and don't look at the clock, don't look at the time, don't overthink it. Just go and fire it up, man. Just go and do it. And I think that's a huge part of it. And everybody's got little things that they're, you know, I'm sure that we all work on and try to improve. And for me, it's funny. They change, they shift with age, and they shift definitely during your time as an artist. But I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever heard anybody say. Get hip to your hustle. You know, figure out the things that you kind of like, I don't know, that you kind of do that aren't productive or that aren't useful to you, and stay in the zone. You know, don't take the bait, don't do, you know, all those other things that, you know, people tell you to do. But more importantly, show up for yourself and show up for the people who are excited about the stuff that you're doing. And you guys are amazing, and it is a lot to take in, man. It is, you know, it is a lot to take in when you know, see a book like Nosfero coming together, you know, that's been just a labor of love. And I was going through, you know, the spring ball pages that I'm working on to, you know, clean that up and wrap up that story. And I tell you what, some days it's always hard work. Every single day is hard work. But I will tell you, I'm more often than not, my little kryptonite and weakness is when my cup runneth over. And I have to sort of say to myself, this is ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? But I think if you've ever experienced, I know you guys probably know what I'm talking about, man. But if you've ever experienced like lean times, both lean times in terms of difficult times for some things, and then sort of, you know, spiritually lean times, when those you know, times that are kind of, you know, incredible and enriching happen, you almost are like, you know, what's that Southernism? You're almost like a duck hit on the head. You know, you take a minute and you're kind of like, what the hell is going on? Like, you don't know, you don't know what's up. And so it's it can be a really crazy thing. And it's, I always tell people, guys, when good stuff is happening in your lives, and when there's stuff, yeah, John, I knew you were going to say that, man. That's totally great. But it's one of those things I'll say to people all the time, which is, make sure you are showing up, however small, however, you know, or however they may seem to other people, man. Show up for the great things in your life any chance you get. You know, it doesn't matter. Make sure you're doing that for yourself. Because I do think that oftentimes it's easy to get sucked into... Let me see if I can zoom in. I want to zoom in on this. Hold on a second here. I got to adjust my focus. That's my problem here. Hang on a second. Many problems. Use manual focus. There we go. And now let me do... I want to do the... adjust the gamma. There we go. That's what was pissing me off. Alright, let's adjust the saturation up a little bit, just so you guys can see that. And let me do a little bit of zooming, and let's see how that goes. There we go. It's a little easier to see. But what's up, Phil? How are you doing, brother? It is great to see you, man. I hope you are doing well, brother. What is up, Holy Hand Grenades? It is great to see you, my friend. Yes, and guys, please do check out the Lucent Pain of Death. That's what this is for. Just past 66K. Thank you all, man. Yeah, man, it's we can absolutely introduce people to one another and make this... What is up, Hen? How are you doing? Oh my god, you guys are killing me, man. Yeah, good evening all. What is up, Aldion? It's good to see you, my friend. Good evening all. Just got home from work. Well, excellent, excellent on your behalf, my friend. I say thank you for all of the work you do. Because, you know, we all have got our work that we're doing, and that's what keeps the lights on. That's what fuels all of this. Is industrious people working hard and then celebrating their passion. So I hope this adds to the quality of your day, my friend. Seeing a little bit of crazy noodling and painting. But it's there's so many artists that have inspired me, and the thing that I always remind myself is key is, when people say, well, what's the secret to doing, artwork or whatever it is, it's the discipline thing. It's doing this stuff, and being committed to doing this stuff, sitting at the chair and sitting at the board, you get to this place. And it's kind of an amazing thing, because what's really cool in our space, and something that I never take for granted, ever, is the fact that you can have a lot of skill come into this space and you can find an audience. There are not all of these ridiculous gatekeepers. I know that's been, talked about a lot, and by people in our space, who are keeping people out based on things other than merit. And I'm so grateful to have, funded and fulfilled those first 2 art books. And at the same time, I feel very fortunate to now have Nosfero at the printer, and it's probably the most complicated and most, the biggest step forward in my artwork I've had in a long time. So incredibly grateful for all of you guys for your support. Yeah. Stephen Rockwood is the man, period, man. He is the first channel member, yes, indeed. And so much love to Stephen Rockwood, man. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, many of you guys might have seen in the thumbnail, but I'm working on the head, quote, head sketches. Let me zoom. Let me move this up here. I'm working on the head sketches for backers at the painted head sketch tier. So, and I'm enjoying Halloween so much. We're going to talk a little bit about the spooky season today, because I am in a festive mood. If you look, let me see if I can do this so it's not horrendous. How does it work? Do I move? I think I can move this over. If you look in the background, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but next to the Incredible Hulk, the Todd McFarlane Incredible Hulk back there, is a statue that was put out that I got for a song about 2 years ago. And it is, the hashtag not a sketch. You're killing me, dude. Oh, man. But there is a statue of the first incarnation of the Master from the Strain. And it's based on the same, on the maquette they used to design the character. Love vampires, love Halloween, so just one of those things. Shanth, did you hire a letterer for Nosfero, or are you doing that yourself? I hired the great Eric Weathers to do the lettering. So yeah, there is, Eric Weathers did the lettering on it. He is fantastic. He is such an amazing artist. And he really crushed it. It was great to have him working on it. So shout out to Eric Weathers. By the way, one of the first links, actually the first link in the description of this video, because I don't have any active campaigns right now, is for Eric Weathers' Battle Brick Road, which I'm still working on that song, man. I cannot, oh, it sounds so bad. It's absolutely dreadful. I was working on recording it while I painted this morning, and I just listened to it back, and I was like, that is freaking horrendous. It's so bad, man. It is the worst. Oh man, it is a phonic hate crime. I don't know what else to say. But I had a really great day today, and I hope all of you guys did. And again, maybe it doesn't take nearly as much for me to have a really great day than some of you guys, so please forgive me for that. But I saw that there was going to be a stream with Young Rippa, Eric July, and my main man, my can of spam, it's all about money, Razor Fist. And here's what I loved. Here's what the coolest thing that for me made the stream for me. There was some great talk about comics. There was some hilarious, comedy and dry wit about the industry and all of that kind of silliness. But my favorite part is that they both come from a heavy metal background. I know Eric July is metalcore in terms of where his music came from, and I think Razor Fist is pretty much the same. And they got into a discussion about heavy metal, and they got into all these artists. They're like, oh yeah, that was so-and-so. Oh, this was so-and-so. It was like hearing how, frankly, they both talk about comics. And I love seeing passionate people sharing their passion in a stream. Even if I don't know what the hell they're talking about, I'm like, I'm going to go look that up. I'm going to go check that out. That was the fun part of the stream for me. because I actually think that's what comic conventions, that's what all conventions were about back in the day, right? And yes, yeah, justice for drunk 3PO. I saw it. I do believe it was a act of cruelty, and I do think it was malicious. I think it was absolutely malicious. But yeah, it was that was such a crazy fun stream. They both were talking a million miles a minute, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like felt like I was at home for a minute there. So sorry to move the camera with that loud sort of squeak there, but I always want to make sure I can get, there we go. I always want to make sure I can get as much of it in frame as I can, man. Yeah, could have been Mercy. Yeah, that's right. A Mercy banning. Yeah, that's right, man. It's crazy because we all sort of stumble into the stuff we're doing. I mean, if you had told me, I mean, my missus and I were talking the other day about all of this stuff, the great Mrs. Enjetti, so much love to her. And we were talking about just how, I don't know if there's anything, I mean, I don't want to say that I have not been focused almost my entire life to do comic book stuff. You know, I've got, sitting over there, I've got the first comic I did when I was 14 years old. And, you know, so it's not like I wasn't there, but I had to be pragmatic and do what all of us do, the best I could, do stuff for my family and make sure everybody was taken care of. And I really did not think, oh, I'm going to have an opportunity to do this kind of stuff again. But I always say, you know, I always love that quote, that old saying that is, life is what happens while you're making other plans. And I do think that that is the case. Comicsgate came along. I mean, I could pretty much track, and I am so sorry to say this, yes indeed, love to Mrs. Enjetti. She's, guys, if you knew how appreciative she was of you guys, man, when we get the channel members, you know, God bless you channel members, guys. When we get that money every month and we're doing all this stuff, I mean, I bought, to work on this painting, I think I bought 8 new paintbrushes, okay? These paintbrushes are not wildly expensive, but they're not cheap either. They're like, they're like $6 or $7 a brush. It's a lot of money. That stuff adds up, and acrylics are really tough on brushes, really tough. Because no matter how much you do the work, you know, and you wash your brushes and you take care of them, sooner or later that acrylic starts to wear down the surface of those hairs, and they won't stick together as well, so you can't get a good point. And as you guys can tell from the work I'm doing in here, this all requires a very fine point. And it's the same thing with Nosfero. It's the same thing with the detail in Nosfero. So when I'm doing head sketches, I don't want to use broken brushes, you know, because, you know, my fans and my backers and the people who, you know, support at that incredibly high, you know, painted head sketch level are really important. And when I'm doing the ink head sketches inside the book, I have the same philosophy, but the pen that I use isn't going to lose its point like a brush, you know, that's painting acrylics. It's just not going to happen. Like, you see that kind of rich contrast that I'm trying to get in there? This is the damn border of this painting, but what if Michael wants to use this as a print? What if Michael wants to use this as a poster? What if he wants to use it as a trading card? I have no idea where the life of this painting can be. It's the same thing with the painting I did for Razorfist. When he commissioned me to do that poster painting that's going to be an interior in the hardcover of Ghost of the Badlands, I want that artwork to be scanned at a resolution and to be done with a kind of resolution in terms of the image where it can always be used for something. It can be monetized. You know, all of my contracts or all of the agreements I make with people are real simple. You own the rights to the piece to do what you need to do with it. And then I own, the only rights I maintain is the right to put it in my art books, to sort of like, whenever I do this is artwork I do. And that's about it. But I work on these things at the scale that I do, which is bigger than a Nosfero page. And I want to make sure it's great. Like, I was doing this thing. This is a really good example of things that happen while I'm painting. I was working on this piece, and Michael, let me tell you this. Oh my God. Why are you trying to make me laugh during this, man? I want to make it into a bathrobe and wear it in. Can't do it, man. Oh, I couldn't get through it. You guys are killing me. What does this mean, everyone? Shanth is often overheard saying, "What's your brush?" to his brush. What's your point? Yeah, seriously, it is. What is my brush's point? Sometimes it's near death. So this is the thing, and Michael knows this. I had done all of these crazy stairs because this shiver me timbers. I'm working on my swearing because I was on Pete Sameti's show. If you haven't checked out the episode I did with Pete, it was a ton of fun. But I'm always trying. This is like a playing card. And I'm trying to kind of have it so it works in these different directions. And it just seemed so right to me to kind of frame out Gilgamesh by having him in the ship here, in the boat here, and then collapsed on these stairs, this kind of aerial view. And it's the craziest thing in the world, but I moved where I had the frog in this piece. The frog was going to be where there's this kind of cool sweeping disintegration with some other characters right in here that Michael probably knows well, but I don't know what I'm supposed to allowed to talk about or what I'm allowed to spoil, so I don't want to spoil anything. For me, this is going to sound crazy, but it's me. So, see, look, I'm trying not to swear, and it takes me no time to swear accidentally. And I'm doing it just as an exercise because, my kids are 18 till they were like 14 or 15. I never swore in front of them. I swore everywhere else, but I didn't swear in front of them. And then at a certain age, I was like, I'm gonna swear now. But this is the thing about it that gets me, man, which is sometimes it can be the craziest little thing that gives me is the key to the whole piece. And it was the placement of this frog and how he affected the sweep of the composition that made me kind of... It made everything fall together. This whole section of the painting, or I should say the center section of the painting that you guys have seen over and over and over again. But I don't... What am I allowed to say? Like, I think you know what I'm painting, so I'm not really sure. Okay, well, all right. Let me see what I can do here. All right, I think you might have talked again, Michael. Just if you're cool with me, I'm not gonna talk about too many details, but just put a 1 in the chat if you're cool with me. Cool with me just running my stupid mouth. And you guys, if you're here and you're in the stream, hit like. We got 19 likes and 29 people watching. I don't know what to say about that, but yeah. I ain't too proud to beg, I believe is how the song went. But put a 1 in the chat. 1. All right, Michael. There you go. So there's this really poetic and beautiful sequence that deals with a lot of imagery, for me anyway, of Pompeii and things like that. And at the same time, you've got all these metaphorical images. It's one of my favorite parts of the book, right? Excuse me. Oh my goodness. It's got a frog, a well, and then a conversation between two characters. And I'm putting one of the characters right here is going to be sitting in a chair while the kind of bodies, the very Pompeii-esque bodies, are going to be lined there as they are composed in the story. And then another character walking in from the distance. But the difference is, as small as this figure is going to be, I'm going to have, "What's up, Dan Lawless? Gross Point Dank. It's great to see you, man." This figure right here in the chair, rather than looking in the direction he looks in the story, I'm going to have him looking, however small his face is, out at the viewer. And that was really important to me. It was another one of those moments that cinched it for me. Do you know what I mean? That I was like, that's it. That's what I needed. I needed to have that kind of interactivity. And that's the thing that I love about working with Michael. That's the thing I love about working with Razor Fist. When I do anything for John Malin, or when I do a piece for Ethan, it's like whoever I'm working for. I'm trying to think of all the Beckoned cover. It's great to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. Much appreciated, brother. I'm just trying to do something really cool. This friend of mine who's a concept artist was like, I've never seen anybody take the bride's body figure and make the lightning streak in her hair. And I was like, neither have I. But I'm always working to try to give just a little something extra. And let me say this, guys. One of the first real supporters and backers of my work, and creators who was a big backer and supporter of my work, was Michael Bancroft. So, and it was weird. How Bance and I met is freaking... It's so crazy. It's like all of my friendships. Speaking of happenstance, American Comics Company is in the house. You're always in good company when American Comics Company is in the house. Hail to you, my friend. It is great to see you. But you never know how you're gonna meet people and where these things are gonna go. And so when I started working on this book and I started trying to figure out what this was gonna be, or this piece, it started way before Michael even had an idea to hire me for something. I knew he was a big fan of these paintings and everything like that I do. And I was like, all right, so if I ever get a chance to really do a big project for him, like a big 12 by 18 painting, I want to pour my soul into it, because I do that with pretty much everything that I do. But it's not, how do I put this? It's not about following your passions. It's about bringing your passions with you. And there's a lot of muscle memory and knowledge in there. It's not all intellectual when you're doing this stuff, like, because if you get too into your head, there won't be any flow to it. And so when I knocked out that figure, it was 100% the right thing to do. But if I was too precious about it, and if I was too intellectualizing about it, I wouldn't have done it. I would have avoided doing that. And so I would encourage everybody, when you're looking at this stuff, it's like, we just got to push this stuff, man. Holy, jeez, Mike. Oh, Mike. Good Lord, man. Now you're going to get me all... all right. Super chat, Australian, $20. God bless you, Michael. My God. Here's why Shanth is... Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Come on now. What the hell, dude? Here's why Shanth is on another level. I never told him that the reason I added that scene in the first place was to give the reader a deeper understanding of what is actually happening in the story. He got that instinctively. Thank you, brother. Good God. What is this, an intervention? I can only handle so many things like that. God bless you. I love you, brother. You know how that is, man. And this is for you. Charge! Yeah, man. Meeting great people, man. That's what Comicsgate's about, guys. Oh, you guys are killing me. Oh, man. Let's see here. It's not about whether you win or lose. It's about whether you win. That's true. That's right. What is it? It's if it doesn't matter who wins or loses, then how come they keep score? Bancroft, says Jeremy Burtz, another fellow channel member. Thank you so much, man. The Jinja Ninja. Oh, that's a great one. I love it. Hello, that's so great. Let's see here. Yeah, ballin', says Wylam. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys are the best. That's right. Let's see here. You get the super chat, we get the cheerleader. That's how it has to be done. So the girl in the Lucent is just Amber Heard, it turns out. No, I don't think she's that powerful or terrifying. She's man, she is tough to paint. So I think I sent this to Michael, but I'll let you in on another secret about this painting. So there's got to be, whenever I paint a female figure or character, there always has to be a classic beauty that influences her. Even if there's some contemporary women or actresses that influence the character, I personally have to find somebody who I think embodies what I'm trying to say. You know, what I'm trying to say I appreciate about this character. And I was sitting there working on this painting, and all of a sudden I was like, I know who the girl is for me, for Ella. And the girl that, or the woman, I should say, classic Hollywood actress who inspired my approach to Ella, if this makes any kind of sense, is the beautiful and incredible Hedy Lamarr. Now, the reason why Hedy Lamarr influenced what I'm doing with this character is because a lot of people don't know this. Not only was Hedy Lamarr a breathtakingly beautiful woman, and a few pre-code movies of her frolicking around can be found, but Hedy Lamarr is one of the names a co-patent holder on what eventually led to the development of frequency hopping to basically allow us to communicate via radio secretly, which is to say, and she was an incredibly interesting and brilliant woman. And so that's the thing I always say when, when we're looking at this stuff is, she was wicked smart, as we say, Wylam, in this stuff. Yeah. Spread spectrum. If you look it up, and I thought to myself, to me, it was like the perfect Bancroft gal, if that makes any kind of sense, for her. She was, there was more to her than that. And I, of course, love classic Hollywood, and that kind of thing. But Hedy Lamarr, is you need to have somebody who speaks to the character. Like my kind of gals from that era were, and a little bit after that era, I should say, but were like Jean Harlow in Public Enemy, like the original Bombshell Blonde, Myrna Loy. But Myrna Loy is a little too sarcastic, and it's not to say that. Yeah, like it's very strange. Like she's not sarcastic, but she's got an edge to her that I don't see Ella as having. And there's a type of girl I really want to paint down the line, but they're very hard to paint. Is Veronica Lake, because I was just watching her. She's great. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what I've been calling the time period we're in right now? I call it slob pop, because my daughter was asking me. She goes, "There's K-pop, but what's American pop?" And I said, well, it used to be just pop, but right now I call it slob pop. People just looking the worst they possibly can, man. It is tough to see. And so when I was as I've worked on this painting, I've just gotten a much deeper appreciation for the story, and but also just the world, that Michael's creating. And I want you guys to look at why. This is where your super chats go, guys. This is where your channel memberships go. They go into me being able to get brushes that can do this. That is ultimately what it's about. Because there is there's an overhead cost. There are I forget what the term is called. But there are things that I use, materials that I use that I can't reuse. So unlike when I'm doing digital artwork in Photoshop, I purchase Photoshop, and that works for however long I'm using it. But I don't have to buy the brushes. This is the kind of thing that goes away. These are these are materials that don't last forever. The same thing goes with the paper. So it's crazy for me to think of this board being made and then it turning into this, man. It's wild, Yep, absolutely, man. Yeah, it is slob. Yeah, it's weird that I try to show up for things, man. Oh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that, dude. You guys are the best, man. You guys are the best. I truly appreciate your enthusiasm, man. Mine are Kimberly from Power Rangers. Hey, listen, it happens. We got different empathies. Hey, listen, guys. Love is love. You know that. Yeah, I thought she was cute. I remember watching, seeing that show. I thought she was really cute, man. Yeah, she was a cute gal. But I don't know about the Power Rangers girl. I know what she looks like, but that was just a little bit after my time. And I remember, she probably had a lot of kids watching that show. Let me say, a lot of young men were probably watching that show, obsessed with her. So let me see here. Now I'm going to move this down. Sorry for the loud noise, but there's no amount of zoom that's going to make that work. And I'll show you guys. There we go. And I always think there's two people who are going to see this. Well, fans have a tendency to get magnifying glasses out and check out artwork. It does happen. I've had that happen before. When I was working on Razorfist piece and he said it's going to be poster size, which means it's going to be bigger than the original. I had a few moments of really getting out the magnifying glass and trying to put a little bit more detail into it. But I put a ton of detail into everything. But with this piece right here, the person who owns the original for these kinds of things, that's the people who are going to most appreciate and get to see all this detail, man. And so for me, that's why I do it, And I wanted to point something out, guys. This is a reveal. This is the first time this is going to be revealed here. All right. So you guys may know this, but when your name is SHANTH ENJETI, you don't see a lot of stuff with your name on it. And Shane Davis has been talking a lot of train lately. And as you guys know, and you may have seen, I've got my train gear, but I decided that I needed to raise my train game so that Shane can raise his train game. That's a lot of rhyming in there. And so this right here is my new train cap. You guys see what I'm talking about? And it says Engineer ENJETI. This is my personalized train hat. So I'm going to be rocking this from time to time. Make no mistake. My wife saw that and she's like, what's wrong with you guys? And I said, we're changing the name to Comics Train. Comics Gate doesn't make any sense. It should be Comics Train. Choo-choo, Jerry. Yeah, that's right, man. I'm tired of the lies, man. We gotta have... Yeah, Jerry, first gentleman, God bless you. Yeah, get some soot on that hat. Yeah, I'm absolutely going to. It'll be charcoal or it'll be whatever, but yeah, we gotta work precision when we're working on this crazy stuff, man. But yeah, I mean, guys, think about this. This is what Razorfist was talking about, man. Yeah, don't worry. I'm sure we'll get that done, man. Yeah, so this is probably the smallest you could have gone, right? Painting, man, is pretty freaking awesome. Oh, thank you so much, dude. You guys are awesome. I appreciate. Well, I am from Chattanooga, man. Yeah, it's a shockingly. Oh, that's so cool. I worked at the Los Angeles Union Station. That's awesome. Wow, so cool. Yeah, I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So the only thing we're famous for is the Chattanooga Choo Choo. So it was a big part of my youth, man. But thank you guys for the kind words about the painting, because this is the thing that's so cool about it. It's when you have a skill. The reason, like this anyway, the reason why, you don't know, actually I should say, I don't always know why this is what I do, you know what I mean? A lot of it is, people use the term God-given, and I think I definitely had some talent, but I've met a lot of people with talent who, just didn't really do anything with it, and not for cases of people being against them, there's a lot of work involved in doing this. So I don't always know why all of this stuff happens. But if I'm going to have some kind of ability to make artwork, I want it to be beautiful for you guys. I want these streams to be positive and uplifting for you guys to the extent that it's possible, because it's how I really feel. You know, it's not a character I have to put on. It's easy because I've been very, very fortunate to have seen a lot, survived a lot, talked a little bit about that on Pete Sameti's stream when we were talking about the work, but it's I get up every single day, and I think sometimes that's the thing that I got to remind myself, which is it's okay to kind of just enjoy this incredible gift. It can be very overwhelming to think about that I've got people who are supporting me and supporting this channel, so I can buy brushes and so that I can get paper, and so that, backing the books, all this incredible stuff, right? All of this stuff is happening, and it can be overwhelming sometimes, and it feels like such an incredible blessing to be able to share this stuff with you guys, and to hopefully in some way, brighten your day with a little bit of work. Like when I was doing the Razorfist piece, it was like I want his audience to love it, obviously, but it really is for him to appreciate and enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want him to say, that's it, that's my character, you got it. And it's the same thing for this. Like, Michael's one of my brothers, man. I'm fortunate to have been blessed with a lot of brothers, a lot of you guys who are channel members and subscribers and things like that. I consider you guys that. And yeah, that's right, man. Oh, hey, listen. Have you been out of curiosity? Have you been on here when I've shown the proof of the book? I've got the proof over here. Let me know if you haven't seen it yet, because I want to show it to you. Let's see. God-giving talent is the unstoppable desire to work and develop your skills. Amen. Yeah, talent is like IQ. Without the work, it doesn't amount to much. Men. And, you know, Michael, I know I've said this to you before. Your on-screen chats are so small. I don't know how to do it. That's I'm trying to figure out why that happens. Well, I wish I knew. Overlays. Yeah, I don't know how to do it yet. I'm going to try to figure out a way to do it, though. I know there's got to be a way. Right? There does, doesn't there? I know I'm going to mess something up if I try. It's going to happen. So we'll see. But yeah. But I mean, that's a big factor for me. Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh my gosh. Well, let me get to this then. Heavens to Betsy. All right, so let me adjust the color on this camera a little bit here because the gamma levels will not show the book well because it's you know, this white paper and paint reflects funny. So this right here, this is the proof of Nosfero. So it's being printed right now. So you can see where they've got the scoring right there that your books are going to have because it's square bound and then it's got a scored edge. So this is, although the cover is going to be high gloss and this is not high gloss, right? So this is what the cover of the book looks like right there. And then if you flip it over, you've of course got the SHANTH ENJETI art logo made with Liberty in the USA. And then this right here, and it's going to be printed on super smooth uncoated paper. So if you backed at the head sketch interior tier, it's going to say first printing. Of course, next copy will say second printing. It's on super smooth uncoated. Here's where I'm going to be signing all of the books. And if you have an inked head sketch, I'm going to be inking your head sketch right here on the title page. That's why I leave that space there. And then, of course, this is these are the credits right in here. So, you know, me and, of course, lettering by Eric Weathers. And then there is another close-up. And then there's my wife's lovely introduction, which is one of the most difficult things I've ever had to read. And then here is page 1 of the book. And this is the actual paper that your books are going to be printed on. And here's the coolest part of it, right? This is the paper quality. Like, so this is a single page of the book. And these are very thick, nice pages. So you can flip through this book and really not have to worry too much. And look at how that detail comes out. Guys, this is an original painting right here that I'm working on. And then this right here is the book. The book is going to be so beautifully printed. It's going to feel like you're flipping through the originals, guys. Guys, what I've charged for this book, there's this illustration rule of thumb that we have, which is there's 3 quadrants. There's good, there's fast, and there's cheap. And you can only have 2, is the old joke. And yeah, it's an 8.5 by 11 book. So it's a big book too. And the joke is if you pick good and cheap, in quotes, it can't be fast. And if you have fast and good, it can't be cheap and all these things. So here's the thing, guys. If I told you how much each copy of this book cost, okay, you would go, what? And then you add shipping onto that, and then you add all of these things. It is a very expensive book, but I wanted you guys, I knew it was going to take time. I wanted to make sure it was beautiful for you. That if you get this book, just the production of the book and the shipping, I want it to be worth the price of admission. Now, that might not be the smartest business strategy, but I did not think I was going to have 660 backers on this book. That blew my mind. But this is not like something, it's heavy. Like, it's 33 pages of the story stuff, but it's 50 oh gosh, I almost show the end of the book. But it's got behind the scene pages that show like certain pages before they were finished. Actually, I probably shouldn't show that on a YouTube stream. And then early sketch ideas, you know, that led to what this book became. Some of you guys have been watching and the streams and you've seen the painted layouts. I know a lot of people like to see those. So if I've included some of the pages in process right here, talking about what I use. Yeah, you almost got a spoilers true. And then because Michael and a lot of other people were saying it, I've included, here are 2 layout pages or sketches for various pages. That's more than 2 layout pages. Here are, I think, 4 layout pages on this side right here. so you guys can see how those worked. And then there are more layout pages over here on this page. I included a lot of the painted layout pages. And then this is a very important scene in the book. The layout page is scribbly, but I want it to be the last image in the book. And then right here, you've got what I've written right here. Onward. And I'll read it because I think it's important. With gratitude for Jack Malin, in quotes, Jack, EVS, Michael Bance B, the great Eric W, R Lad Rob A, Von K, CG Team, Comicsgate, Per Berg, Phil Diaz, Jeremy INF, AOTFJOOL, and everybody knows who that is, Eric July, Razor Fist, Iron Age Creators, The Waffle Lodge, Michael the Choice Voice, whoa, dropping everything, K, and then C. Scott Davis, Grim Life Collective, all my Crypt Walkers, channel members, past and present, Tom McDonald, Jordan Peterson, Ayn Rand, Double Impact Triple Threat, Gabe E, Jericho G, Arvin B, Rocky B, and especially for the Creator endowing me with certain unalienable rights and the men who have bled to establish and defend a nation where these rights are recognized. I won't read that middle part. That's for you guys to read. 660 backers made Nosfero the Crypt Walker possible. They paid for brushes, board, paint, and supported my family in our leap of faith. The impact of their support is beyond evaluation. Speak easy, stay gold, and keep the faith. Shanth. So yeah, so when you guys get this book, know how important you are to the creation of it. Just know what this is about. Aldous on the farm just off Orwell Lane. Yeah, he's one of my... I don't know what... It feels like those are getting smaller and smaller. What the heck is going on? What did I do? Can I make that larger? I don't know. That's really strange. Can I... Oh, hey! Whoa! I just discovered something. Hold on a second. Oh, that's cool. Let me see. Whoa! Look at that! Is that better? Can you guys see that okay now? I don't know how that looks on your end. But let me know if that did something. You know, but that's the thing for me when I was doing this stuff is I started thinking about all of the crazy things. Much better. Got it. There you go. So yeah, so apparently, gosh, I'm learning this thing all of the time. I'm learning all this stuff. But yeah, that's the thing for me where it's like when I'm trying to figure out, let me adjust gamma back down so you guys can see this a little better. But when I'm trying to figure out what it is that, you know, this stuff is going to be, move that back down there. There we go. So we get a little bit more scale. I'm always thinking about, let's bring our A game to this. You know what I mean? Let's bring our A game to everything that we do inside of this space, and let's make them see what we're capable of, because we're capable of a hell of a lot. And so when I look at Nosfero, my wife asked me, was talking to me about it, and I said, I said to her, I go, you know why I think I painted Nosfero? She said, why? And I go, so I would never have to do it again. And she laughed because it is a lot to do. But, you know, it is so much. I would tell anybody who wants to do a traditional painted book, you definitely need a lot of skill. You got to pace yourself on it in terms of like how much energy it's going to take. But the biggest thing that you've got to have on your side is discipline. Discipline to get it done. Discipline to, you know, in my case, I always say, I will never do a book, even if it's redundant, where I don't make some adjustments and order a second proof, because the first proof of this book was too dark. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault. And I knew it was too dark. I've worked with them before, and I knew it was too dark, and I had a feeling it was going to be too dark because my first version always is. And I went through and with like page by page, original artwork, first proof, and monitor right over there to make sure I could get this perfect for you guys. Oh, wow, that's a really tough one. Who would play Nosfero in a movie adaptation if it was up to you? If it was up to me? Holy cow. there's so many people that I like that would have the right face for this. I'm just trying to think who would have the right face for this, because they've got to have kind of like, they kind of have to have like a young Sean Connery kind of face. You know what I mean? They got to have to have like a boxer's face. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few people I think of. Arturo Thunder Gotti. Plush, it's great to see you. God, Shanth, you are an inspiration. Oh, thank you so much. Jeez. You got to do album covers and sleeves. I would love to, guys. That's what it is. Once I printed a poster 6 times to get the colors right, you know what I'm talking about, man. It's, do everything you put your hand to with excellence. Why would you do anything else? Yes, why would you do anything less is right. Guys, Carl, oh, perfect. That's a perfect call. Perfect call. He's got the face. Yeah. His eyes are a little wide set, but actually, when I think of him in Dread and how he was and how he chews up the scene, even actually, funny enough, when I think about him in The Bourne, The Bourne Supremacy, I think he was great. If I'm recalling him correctly, I think he was in that. He's great. That's a perfect casting call. Plush, that's a perfect, you're going to get a cheerleader for that. Charge! All right, no more, only for super chats going forward. Let me see here. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe Michael Bancroft, you didn't confuse them spelling color incorrectly would help. But, it's a crazy sort of thing because, when someone was asking me about, my originals and whether they're head sketches or anything, I put 100% into everything I do. And the reason why my originals, why I sell my originals for how much I'm going to sell them for, which is always actually how much I do sell them for, which is a lot of money, is because the only other thing that's going to happen with these originals is they're going to be left with my kids to do whatever they want to do with them, But these paintings, because they're done in traditional media on a surface like this, they're a record of time that I spent with this piece of paper and how much detail, and they're like a record of labor on this thing. And it's so important to really show that, to show your passion for what you do and your detail. And I think craftsmanship is something that's very important for Iron Age creators and Iron Age fans and Comicsgate fans. When you see Ethan laboring over his pages of CYBERFROG, you could argue, leave that detail out. Oh, just do that. But I was looking at, Mike's Eiffel Tower painting, and I was like, painting. It's just how I think. But it is. It's a digital painting in a sense. It depends on how you view it, Painting to me is thinking in terms of color and space. But I was looking at that painting of his, I was thinking, oh man, he didn't have to put all of that detail into it. But it almost becomes, there's this meditative quality to detail that is hard to always, it's hard to describe sometimes. But if you look at, what's happening in a section like that on this painting, you can kind of you see how it all kind of comes together and gives it this sort of this richness. Like, again, it is a tree, but it's I'm referencing tree texture, but it's almost like grains of wood. If you've ever seen a live edge table, where they just cut a slab of wood and then they leave the edge of it like the edge was on the tree, they don't try to make it a square. I love that kind of stuff. I've actually got a little live edge little table next to me here because I love it so much. And I just love that stuff. I like being out in nature and seeing old gnarled trees. And things like paper stock are important to me. Things like, cover texture are important to me. And, I want to make books. I definitely, when I was thinking about where I want to go with my work, the Spring Ball, that I put out, the Spring Ball book I put out is going to be a book. It's going to be the whole story. There could be another story after it, just like with Nosfero, there's another story after it, but it's a complete book. It's like Doc Savage, another great Clark, Clark Savage, is you get the Man of Bronze, but then you get all of the stories after it, right? You get the Living Shadow, and then you get all the stories after it. And so Nosfero the Cryptwalker is basically Nosfero Man of Bronze, Nosfero the Living Shadow. That's kind of the first intro to that character. So everybody who gets this book, it is the starting point. All of the other adventures, they will happen in somewhat, chronologically, but they're not going to be, they're always going to be self-contained adventures, because I like it like, using it like, again, people talk about bande dessinée, which is big for me, but also Harry Potter, things like that. I want to make sure that, there we go, a little closer up. I want to make sure that I'm creating stuff that has that kind of quality to it, I want to make stuff that has that sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but yeah, that sort of staying power, and you feel like, oh, I got this book and it's not obsolete. Let me see here. That's labor for our Aussie audience out there. It's like going back to your drawings and what era of your life it was. Absolutely. Narwhal, Narwhal Trees, my Nosfero. That's where Narwhal gets his books from. That's true. Nosfero the Cryptwalker would be, that's right, a Cryptwalker would be a funny fairy. No, you're totally right. And speaking of, because you guys were talking about times in your life and all that kind of stuff. So I had been looking at the comic I did when I was 14 the other day, right? And so this is the way I made my work when I was 14 years old. And you can see all of the crazy line hatching. But what's interesting to me is I could see myself putting in like wood texture and stuff right in there. And I was thinking, man, I was trying to do certain things with texture that it would take me a very long time to figure out. So yeah, and then doing things with like this little pointillism to put skulls and cool things in there. I was very blocked in with my lines back in the day. And I didn't realize I needed things to flow more. But I mean, it's still hand lettering titles and all that stuff. I mean, that's what it's about, That's how I kind of make things happen. Is I just keep working. I'm really determined about getting things done, and I've been making comics and self-publishing comics since I was a kid, and it's the only way I know how to do this stuff is to just tell a story, and so that's the key for me. Let's see here. You guys are cracking up. Let's see. And Nosferatu, the Bloodwalker. I see trouble brewing. Yeah, the idea that I am toying with right now for the next Nosfero story is, tentatively, the title is Nosfero, Death Will Die. Because, as you know, of that famous Lovecraft quote, death may die. And I was actually going to take a very different angle on it. But it was going to talk a little bit more about, some of the kind of, like Dracula and other things do. But it's going to talk about some of the more spiritual, ideas that can be associated with that. And then taking on a character that I've seen other people do a take on. But I want to do a take on this character that you've never seen before. That's the hint I'll give you. So, what I did with Nosfero and what I've done with the kind of merging of the kind of Dracula Nosferatu mythology and kind of bringing my own sort of thing to it, I want to do that with another character that's really big. And I've got a friend of mine who is he's my brother. I always refer to him as my brother. I've known him for decades now. And he's a legit polymath, one of the smartest people I know. He's an oil painter. He colored on the Shadow 1941. His name's Nicholas Egon Janeshig. He's a brilliant, brilliant man. And he is helping me do research on this thing right now. So it's going to be kick-ass. Yeah, the Bloodwalker actually sounds like a pretty cool name. Yeah, guys. Absolutely. Well, it's funny, too, because I'm looking at... I'm looking at some of the stuff I'm doing here with Michael's painting, and you guys said the Bloodwalker. I was thinking about this particular part of the painting right here. So yeah, yeah. One of my let's see, my glasses are falling off. One of my favorite lines from Painted Death. So too must you stand, enduring like the oak, unbending in even the strongest storm. For what hope do spring buds have of blooming on a fallen tree? There you go, man. Yup. Yeah, this is the thing about it, man. I always say when people are, that's why my Iron Age logo design has been done the way it's been done, which is to say, it's been designed with this one particular thing there, which is give nihilism no quarter. And my personal feeling is that when people are feeling the most nihilistic and people are feeling things seem the quote unquote most bleak, is when people need poetry and they need art to be beautiful the most. And so I kind of, when I'm doing streams and when I'm talking to you guys and I'm putting this stuff together, I'm thinking about it in terms of just bringing beauty out there to the world, and just trying to bring something beautiful, to what we're doing. And I have a deep appreciation for artists and creators who bring beauty to things. And, I think the thing I was most happy about today was that when I posted about this painting today, Razor Fist, who's been following me on, he's been following me on Twitter now, I think since some of my paintings I did of his characters, but also ever since I did a Western painting. I think it was the Woody Strode piece I showed him. And he saw this piece, and he started following Michael on Twitter. And it was so cool because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I was an ambassador for the Lucent. Like, all of you guys are ambassadors for Nosfero. You're ambassadors for Shanth Enjeti art. When you guys, become channel members, when you guys become, subscribe to the channel, when you guys back these books, and then you go and shout it out to people, come check this stuff out. You guys are my ambassadors. And when someone commissions me to do a piece of artwork, I'm not only representing myself and, the 47 years of work I've put into everything I'm doing, but I want people to see this and fall in love with the Lucent. I want people to see this and go, I've got to pick up this book, because this painting is a physical manifestation of how I see the Lucent, what the reaction is I have for the Lucent. And it's basically me saying back to a fellow artist like Michael, do you know what I'm talking about, man? And the goal is for him to look at it and go, I know what you're talking about. And it's great. It's so weird to be just surrounded by paintings. My wife goes, if they could see how many paintings you have just hanging out here, they wouldn't believe how much work you do. I always say, I think they would. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, this was me saying to Razor Fist, I think I get what you're doing here. Do I get what you do? Like, you see what I'm talking about? Is this what I'm talking about? And is this what you're talking about? And when he saw it, he's like, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. And I say this all the time. My wife follows Michael on Instagram. And she goes, I really like his work. I think it's my favorite artwork I've seen in Comicsgate. It speaks to her. She's a graphic designer and a painter. And she just does tons and tons of different kinds of work. And a teacher on top of that. She's just a machine. And I said, I like that. I like that she gets the things I get. Do you know what I mean? I don't care if we share the same interests. That's just not important, man. But I do care if she gets the stuff that's important to me, because art is so important to me, man. It's the language that makes sense to me. And I want to understand. I understand things, and I communicate my understanding to the best of my abilities through what I do on this board, through what I do on these paintings right here. And it's so important to me that I try to make something magical happen for the people who are backing Nosfero, for the people who support this channel. Always got your names in the credits, guys. And if I miss anybody's name, please let me know. But I think I've probably got everybody now, because I just checked it recently. But that's ultimately what this stuff is about, guys. And it's like this, there'll be more to this figure, but it's the way this figure is sitting in the chair. but it's also the way, I don't know, like, I mean, I repainted this figure because it was not mathematically in the, like, it wasn't, the rhythm was off of the way these two were supposed to be interacting. And the way that Michael illustrates Gilgamesh collapsing on this staircase, I wanted to capture it, but then I'm going to go more into it, you know, and bring my sort of interpretation of it. But there's just so many poignant, poetic moments in the stuff. Like, everything I do, I want it to be very poignant and very poetic. And like, Nosfero is just 33 pages of visual, you know, visual poetry in a sense, you know. And it's that's the shit that's important to me, man. Let me see here. Yes, let me see. I'm trying to click on that with my vision here. Yes, understanding your interest is important. Don't have to share the same love. That's right. Understanding appreciation is important. That's what it is, man. Yes, art speaks the language of the soul. More reason to bring your A game. Absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, guys, like, we look at this stuff, and, you know, we're kind of, you know, we're kind of out there in the best sense. You know, we're kind of the ambassadors for, and sort of the defenders in many cases. And you guys who support our channels and support our books, you guys are the patrons of beauty. This thing that is, you know, is being, you know, under constant threat from, frankly, the forces of ugliness, for lack of a better way of putting it. You know, people who worship at the altar of, you know, degrading images and degrading, you know, nature and people and God or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That they are degrading. And the transcendent that kind of comes through, you know, just the work, you know, when you practice enough to kind of forget, you know, all of the little minutia, that's sort of the thing that is so important to make sure that we're doing and defending. And that's the key right there. And so I'm going to just be giving you guys everything I've got, man. I love that on-screen chat timeout. Cecil needs that so bad. It is a real great thing about Ecamm. It's just not good for having other people on streams because it's a nightmare. Yeah, guys, it's so, we put a lot of work into learning how to do things so that we can maximize the experience for you guys. And I actually have, why it's important for me to stream is because I actually pay for both StreamYard so I can have people on, and then Ecamm so I can do streams like this one. And the only way I could ever get my quality of my streams to the level that you guys are seeing them is if I use this particular software. And that's what it is. You know, I mean, it's like I could pay for one, but I want to make sure you guys have a good experience when you come to the channel and when I'm doing these streams, because it's easier to show digital work than it is to show, you know, traditional work on stream. I mean, Bob Ross had a camera crew. I don't have a camera crew, so let me see if I can adjust the focus on that, because I just want to see. Not there, not there, not there. No, actually, I have it pretty good. Just making sure. I always want to make sure I've got. There we go. Let's get a little bit more contrast in there, but you guys can sort of see how we're putting the detail together, man. It's like, just make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. Make every line, make every mark count. And I'm just in a groove with this piece now. I have to learn. I have to get to know people's characters and their stories when they hire me to do something. And I know Michael's stuff a lot. Sometimes that can make things a little bit more daunting because you got, in a lot of ways, too much information. But knowing it intellectually is not the same thing as knowing it with your paintbrush. And that was a real trick with Ghosts of the Badlands. Because think about this. I own the first issue of the Lucent, and Michael was kind enough to send me the rough of the second issue for this painting. I don't think it'd be even possible for me to do this without that, because it's just, there's a lot going into this painting for me personally as an artist. There's time of my life that has gone into this with all the paintings I do. But Razor Fists, I didn't have a book. I didn't have a single issue of Ghost of the Badlands. Like I'm creating one of the first, color, and maybe the first like really traditional fully painted piece for that character. And that's why that painting ain't going to be cheap. If anybody wants to buy it, and he's got first refusal on it, but it's, it's a big deal. It's a big thing to try to get correct. And I'm looking at actors. I'm watching westerns. With this, I'm looking at a lot of paintings. One of the you should send me an updated PDF. It might melt my brain, Michael. What if I see it and then it take longer? No, man, but it's thank you for sending it to me, man. I do appreciate it. But there's a painter that I'm looking at for this piece right here, and every book every artist is there'll be an artist that speaks to you, man, when you're looking at it. And yeah, Michael, if you're curious, like the kind of like, people always ask me, is there an artist you would like to do a cover for you? The people that I would want to have do covers for me are like people like Aaron Horkey, or artists who are, who's an amazing, incredible artist, or people who are dead who I can't get. Jake Weidman comes to mind. He's just an incredible artist. But David A. Smith is somebody I'd love to have, do something for me. Let's see if I can get this to paste into here. There we go. What did I just do? So yeah, so that right there, that is an artist who is influencing this painting. Yeah, there's always AI art. Hey, listen, man. If AI wants to be miserable, it can make art too. Oh, man, I will tell you this. I look at Ivan Ivanovsky's ocean paintings of the sea in particular, and they've been a huge influence for some of the stuff that I'm doing here. But that's just where my stuff goes. I go into things with an intensity. Like, I was trying, when I was painting Razorfist's painting, I was trying not to look at certain illustrators. I was really trying to look at painters. Like, I was looking at Lucy Kemp Welsh, one of the a British artist who actually did support the war effort paintings for World War I believe it was. She's and she painted the most incredible horses. And I was looking at her for that stuff. I was looking at saw the Conversion on the Road to Damascus, a painting that he referenced, that the story is referencing, because I thought that was really important to capture that aspect of the story, the religious aspect of it. And with this, Ivan Ivanovsky is just big for me, and just a crazy guy, huge, it's huge. But it's I've been very lucky. I'm proud of I'm proud of everything I've done for people. I mean, I still look at this CyberFrog trading card, and I'm so proud of what I did on this, man. I mean, it's one of the best things I've done. It's killer to see it together. And I have it right there. It's propped up by my CyberFrog PVC. And I've got so many monsters up there now in honor of Halloween. It's just crazy, dude. I love this stuff. Yeah, I'd love to what's the word I'm looking for? I'd love to be less positive and less optimistic, but I've seen too many terrible things to be a pessimist, if that makes sense. I've seen, to me, every day is a freaking miracle, and every chance to sit down while my eyes can still, see some of the crazy detail I do. I want to make, these days count, and I want to do things. And I think the thing that probably scared me the most about Nosfero is the thought of going into the ground and having not done Nosfero. Now that book is done and it's at the printer, I felt like a tremendous amount of relief when it went there, because there's no way I would ever, not, unless I'm dead, I would never get something to a backer, man. Yeah, he does. He's got an epic beard and some epic paintings, man. Look at those ones where the sunset is on a stormy ocean with a ship being destroyed, and you'll totally get what I like about his stuff. And I think he has a very similar love of our color palette, the orange and blue color palette. That's a massive. I mean, it's always been my favorite colors is blue and orange. That's my favorite complementary color set. There we go. There we are. Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. I mean, and gosh, look at how deep, like how small this part of the painting is. When I start to move up through the figure, it's crazy town, man. Yeah, it's what we gotta do, man. I want us to do the best stuff. I want the Iron Age and Comicsgate and all of it. I want us to be doing the best stuff. I want us to be having a good time, and I want us to be. I'm gonna try to bend this just so, because it's kind of it's warping the image because it's hard to get both the light where I need it to be, and then also get the to get the perspective where I want it to be. But you guys see what I mean? It's just like I can create miles of or 100 feet of depth in one section of the painting and then bring the camera up. I can have you looking. This is the great thing about doing these paintings in this kind of poetic sort of fashion, where it's like I can have you looking at a motorcycle racing into the distance, have a figure walking out of a mist at a completely different depth. In the same frame, have a frog, something as small as a frog, coming forward in space. And then I can do things where you're looking down and up and sideways all at the same time. And then that descends into an ocean with a person alone at sea, and battling the elements. I mean, good God, like this painting is it's like everything. It's everything, man. It's God, give it everything. Just give it everything. It was the same thing when I did the for Rob the Rizzler, when I did Rob's what is he doing on those stairs? Yeah, well, he's planking. It happens to all of us. As a person who grew up with a hand tremors, steady hand is mesmerizing me. Oh wow! Let me tell you something, man. It's mesmerizing to me, and thank you for that. I appreciate the compliment. I actually had terrible hand control when I was a kid, and I had to hold my right hand with my left hand to attempt to steady it, which a lot of people don't know. I was kept in from recess during elementary school to work on my penmanship or to work on my handwriting because I could not write letters, and one of the things that it was one of my favorite stories from my childhood, and I think it's probably why I got good at like in terms of my artwork. It's an attitude. I don't mean to say, oh, like I transcended some physical thing, because mine was just needing to be developed. It wasn't anything like having hand tremors. There was this one time when my parents came in when I was being kept in from recess working on my letters, and my parents said to me they were hopeless. I mean, they were just terrible. Your hand control it didn't even look like English, and they looked over at me being sort of a parent, and they said, oh, you're doing so good with your letters. And I think I was in like first grade or something like that, and I just cocked, like I put my pencil like this, held it down, looked like up at them, and I said, no, they're not. My letters are the worst letters. Everyone in the classroom's letters are better than mine. And I went back to work, just working, because I knew they were just not there, man. You know what I mean? I just, and I'm not, I wanted to get, like, I just knew I look at things and I go, nah, this could be better. And oftentimes I understand that. I mean, I can imagine it's frustrating, but it was a lot of looking at my hand when I was trying to draw or write or create stuff, and trying to get it to do what I wanted it to do, and it wouldn't do it. Trying to put something close to what I was seeing in my head onto the paper. And what's interesting is 50% of that has been getting the picture in my head to be more studied and understand, to look at things more and understand what they are, but the translating it onto paper is gosh, there's so many different levels to all of this stuff. But I've been at it for so long. I really remember that. I wish I could go back in time. I don't know if I've mentioned this on stream before, but up until 5 years ago, I could never write in cursive. I had a really scribbly, awful signature, and that was trying to look like cursive, but I didn't understand how to write in script. And so I decided to keep a journal only in script. And I picked out a form of script that I thought was my favorite kind, which was I swiped Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's handwriting. And I started just writing in that way until I figured out how to write script. And now I can write script for the first time. So I've learned how to write in script in the last 5 or 6 years. And I'm 47. So I was in my 40s when I learned how to do that. Shanth, will you... Comics legend. Shanth, will you original art from Nosfero? It's 3:15 a.m., so I could be reading that wrong. So I'm having trouble with it. Currently looks like he's taking a moment for himself. You prescribed yourself a script. I wish. Oh my gosh. I remember dreaming about a Todd McFarlane quality piece of art. I woke up and thought, I made that in my head, so what's stopping me from drawing? Amen. Yeah, I know. I've been there myself, man. Yeah, it's never too late to learn something new. And it's funny, I don't know, I can't tell from your image if you are holding a guitar or not. I can't really tell, or a bass. Is that an instrument right there? I'm not sure. And if that's you, I'm not sure. It might not be you. But I don't know if you play an instrument, but I actually just started a couple of years ago learning how to play the violin, and I practice violin all the time. It was a dream of mine, and I'm rubbish at it, as they say, but I'm working. Oh, it's you. Very cool. It's a bass. You know who I was thinking about today? And I don't know if you'll be I don't know if you'll be a fan of this guy's work, but I think about him all the time. Of course, I always think about gosh, there's a lot of people. Let me see. My brain is so tired, I can't even think. So today I was thinking about Cliff Burton, but I was also thinking about, why is my brain, because I'm getting all of these different people in my head, and I cannot believe Les Claypool. So today I was thinking about Les Claypool and the way he plays the bass. And I don't know if you're a fan of Les Claypool, but I just that's something that always just like, bang, 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 bang. Like I always think about Cliff Burton, of course. Yeah, I love Cliff Burton. So those were people that because I'm not the most musically inclined person in the world, but those were people whose music, Bootsy Collins and folks like that too. And like there's all these amazing musicians, but those guys really I felt like I really understood their music. It's too non-metal for your taste. Understood. Yeah, and you gotta understand, I'm from Tennessee, so there's a little hillbilly in his stuff. It's totally for me. Oh, I think Comics Legend meant, will you be selling your original art from Nosfero? At the moment, no. I don't know if I will or not. I sell the originals for these things. And depending on, the conversation I have with the person, but there's one Nosfero piece of artwork I am going to sell, but it'll cost a lot. But I'm going to try to sell it, or I'm willing to sell it at some point. Gosh, do I even have it here? Oh, I think I moved it, but it's going to be in the, it's going to be published in the Visions book by John Malin. So it's a double page spread. You can see me working on it, so that piece is going to definitely be one that I sell. And then of course the original artwork for the trading cards and the bookmark is for sale, but not the pages yet because I might need them. You gotta understand, this is my first painted comic book, and I'm going to probably want to have those interior pages to reference when I'm doing more painted pages, because I'm just things about scale and detail that I've learned. on those, I still am trying to, internalize. Yeah, man, you guys know. But it's yeah, I mean, for me, I just remember listening to Metallica with my friends. And so that was a big, my kids like watching Stranger Things. And Master of Puppets, I think I drew that album cover with all those cross tombstones on it about 1,000,000,001 times. And so, yeah, that would like to hear that song and hear a bunch of young people getting into that song and that album for me was so great, man. I just loved that stuff, man. Right on, Comics Legends. So that was correct. All right, excellent. Yeah, there's stuff, and I'll try to put some stuff up on the website soon so people can see it. But yeah, depends on the guitar and depends on the bass. They both come in a variety of lengths and frets. Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, my daughter is actually taught herself how to play the guitar, and she wants for her birthday this year, she wants an electric guitar. So we'll see what mom and dad can do. Let's see here. I prefer to play with a thin-necked bass with extra frets. That's what is shown in my picture. It's my main show bass. Awesome. Do you have YouTube videos of you playing? Are there any videos on YouTube or anywhere of you playing at a concert? Aldian, let me know. I would be curious to know if you've got YouTube videos of yourself playing. Yes, there's a YouTube video of me playing on my channel. Awesome. So let's do this. Okay. All right, I just modded you. Could you put a link to you playing the video of you playing on your channel in the chat, please? That would be great. Oh, the song is called Berserker. Very cool. Nice. Yeah, if you could put a link to that in the chat, then that would be fantastic. Plush says, Creeping Death makes me want to watch the 10 Commandments. There you go. Yeah, man. Let's see here. Yeah, so let me know. Oh, sure. Excellent. Yeah. No worries. No pressure. But yeah, if you could get that in the chat, that'd be great. Because, look, guys, we're all in need of art and creativity and things like that. And I like when you guys share the stuff you're doing. You know what I mean? That's the fun stuff that we do here. You know? That's what makes it great. So yeah, we just keep on rocking and rolling. No pun intended, actually. It's kind of funny. We just keep rocking and rolling, making stuff. And I really loved hearing both Eric and Razorfist geek out about metalcore and heavy metal today. Kind of made my day. Because I like hearing people who are passionate about this, like different things, not just comics, not just video games, and not just all that stuff, right? But many things, right? And then I love the people who go into things specifically. Like there's a web channel on YouTube called Townsend's, and there's a gentleman on there who does leather tooling, like detailed stuff like that, and he's also a blacksmith. And I just go, man, that's so cool. Do you know what I mean? Oh, there you go, guys. The link is in the chat, so make sure you bookmark that, guys. And there is the channel right there. Thank you, John, you legend. Yeah, it's a video of him wrestling a whale on the beach. There you go. Well, that's what happens. The song was actually named by one of the SEAL Team 6 plank owners. Wow, Nasty Nick. Very cool. See, I tell you what, guys. I tell my wife that I'm incredibly fortunate because I meet people from all over the U.S., all over the world, in this incredible, space that we've got. This Iron Age space, this Comicsgate space, this Fandom Menace space going back, to back in the day. And you get to I don't know, man, you get to meet the coolest people and they can share what they do in a way that was never possible before. Do you know what I mean? And that's the stuff for me, man. That's the stuff that I like. And I mean, it's always feels like a little Star Trek to me, man, but it's like, you can just you can talk to people on the other side of the planet. Like I'm doing a commission for somebody on the other side of the planet. Now, I did work for people overseas. Some of my first jobs out of college were that when I was working as an illustrator, doing painted stuff then. But I didn't get to have them watch me work on it, which is so cool. We've had video conversations, just for me to get a better understanding of the Lucent and bounce some things off of Michael. And I appreciate that stuff. And then talking to all of you guys, like we just hang out, man. Yeah, man. It is for me too, man. Comicsgate. It's so much for me, man. That's why it's one of the first, like after, John Malin and Ethan and Mike and all those guys and Eric. That's why Comicsgate is in there. That's why it says, like, with gratitude for, man. It's crazy. Let's see. Original and one of the first members. Right on. Very cool. Yeah. Listen, man. Same for me, dude. Same for me. 100%. And yes, indeed. Hail, indeed, man. That's what it's about, man. It's like I can't stop being appreciative for Comicsgate. I can't stop being appreciative for the Phantom Menace, even going back to that, like just finding people. Funny enough, one of the guys who is not in Comicsgate, and he's just a YouTuber I became friends with, named Michael, the Choice Voice is his channel. Mike, he's another one of my wonderful Michael friends. But he was one of the first people to walk out of The Force Awakens and be like, what the hell is going on? And then he introduced me, sharing his passions. He introduced me to Hammer Horror, man. And Hammer Horror is all over this book. Like when you see Nosfero, this character right here is based on Madeline Smith. She's inspired by my wife and Madeline Smith, man. And it's like, it's crazy to think about when you see this, and it's like, where would this character have been? The character would have looked different, without, Michael King introducing me to Hammer Horror. And he's doing a month of Hammer Horror on his channel. So if anybody has the link for the Choice Voice, actually I can see if I can find it here. But he is such a great dude, and he is doing great work with, and actually I designed his banner. I just realized that on his YouTube channel, but he's doing Hammer Horror videos this month. And he just did, he also does Star Trek fan films. He's a direct Star Trek fan films that, he also acts in. He's a terrific guy. I painted a poster for him because, my family and I, we love the dude. He's such a great guy. And, but he introduced me to Hammer Horror, man, and it's like, guys, it's a great world out there. It's crazy. We'll all take our lumps, you know what I mean? That's what that one paragraph I didn't read in the back of my comic says. It's like, you got to move on, and you got to let go of things and stuff like that sometimes, and bones mend and shit like that, but it's really ultimately, if you can have the level of beauty and the level of inspiration that we've got going on right now in CG and in the Iron Age, hold fast to that. Tie yourself to that mast. You know what I mean? And never, ever give up on that shit. I mean, I think that was my thing, right? Hold fast, outclass, and outlast CG for life is one of my favorite things I ever designed. Man, I tell you what, I wish I knew someone who was good at doing the t-shirt thing, because I would love to go into business with somebody and say, hey, can you make t-shirts and fulfill t-shirts of these designs? Oh, man. It's like, I just need some money for these designs, and if you can handle that, because I got so many things going on, man. I'd love to make a t-shirt of the Iron Age logo I did, which I'm looking into doing stuff like that, but it's just, I got so much stuff. And I'm very grateful to be busy, always grateful to be busy, but I've got so many things going on and so many things I want to do, it's just, there's too much out there. God, this is going to be so cool. Mike, this is going to be good. I got to be honest with you, man. Yeah, spit the tooth out and carry on. I have a photo, and, it was, I think it was like, one of the early on in the whole lockdown thing. So it was a pain in the butt to have to get out and get appointments places. And I bit down into something, I can't remember what it was, and it pulled one of my what do you call them? When you have a root canal, they put it over. I think it's a crown, but I can't really remember. Pulled it just clean off what was left of that tooth. And I laughed, and my daughter looked over at me, and she's like, "What is it?" Thank God I didn't break a tooth chewing on it. But I showed it to my daughter, and I go, "It's my tooth." And then and she goes, "It's scary." And I said, "Here, hold it in your hand." She held it, take a picture. I said, "Get over your fear." That poor kid, man. But I was just like, yeah, man, you gotta rock and roll. You gotta do it. I was really proud because when my son cut his finger with a steak knife accidentally, he was trying to carve something out of cardboard, and I wouldn't have let him do it if I knew what he was doing, and he just went through the cardboard right through his finger. And I took him to the emergency room. You know, he was calm once he got over the initial shock. And the thing about it is when we went there, he was a young gentleman. He said thank you to the doctor who glued it back together. And yeah, it was like I nice to the nurses. So when I was in the emergency room waiting, somebody said to me, they go, "Excuse me, can you tell us how late you guys are running?" And I was like, "What? Like, what do you mean? Like how late we're we're running?" And he goes, "Well, I just thought you worked here because you keep getting folding chairs for everybody who comes into the waiting room, because the waiting room was overcrowded, and they had this whole hallway of folding chairs for if it got overcrowded. And so I kept seeing like a pregnant woman come in or somebody with a broken leg. So I just started bringing people folding chairs, and then they thought I worked there, man. It's hilarious, dude. This is destined to be a centerpiece of my painted death. Indiegogo. Oh, God bless you when it comes time. I cannot wait, brother. It'd be an honor. Yeah, it was one of those things, man. Yeah, that stuff smarts. That's good parenting with the tooth. Embrace your fear. Yeah, man. Does Nosfero's mustache give him power? Well, actually, it's interesting. Nosfero, it's not a mustache as much as it's a piece of iron running through his nose. And you're going to figure out what that is about once you get the book and you're reading it. But yeah, it basically keeps his head from splitting in half. So ponder that for a minute. Yeah, he has a rather Lovecraftian procedure done that opens a gateway in his head, and that is all that is sort of kind of keeping him together in a sense. So yeah, everything in it is gonna. I had my buddy read it, brother Nick, the polymath, and I was having him look at it, and just because he knows what a crazy maniac I am, and he's a big pulp Doc Savage fan, and he was just looking at it, and he was like, "Oh man, you are doing some crazy things in this." Like he's like, "This is crazy." He's like, "It feels like it all makes sense, like in terms of like the world and how everything." Not the world building, it's more like the drama of it. But he goes, "Man, you went balls to the wall on this." And I go, it's how I talk is how I write and how I paint. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh man, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, take the compliment, Shanth. Bow to Miss Enjetti. Amen. I will. Yeah, it's yeah. And here's the craziest thing, right? So I didn't know Razor Fist was going to go. This is the Iron Age. Nos Pharaoh. In Romanian is Iron Nose, and I only picked the name because of I wanted to do like a ferocious version of Nosferatu, but have him be the anti-Dracula. And you should have seen the look on my face when I said, maybe I'll use this for a name. I better check and see if it translates into anything in that region. And it was like Iron Nose. You want to talk about feeling like you've been helped by hidden hands? And so then Razor Fist is like, we should dub this the Iron Age. And I'm like, nuts. It's all crazy. It's all amazing. And it's all a blessing, man. I mean, sent a random email to Ethan and then, started sending him videos for... just funny videos, intro videos, and things like that. And then all of a sudden I'm doing a CyberFrog card, and then it's so... I could sit back and, look at some of the things I've done, and it's just all comes from this place of always trying to help people to the best of my ability, man. And it's always just... It's a big... I think that's probably the thing I have to do the most is... It's just, take care of the family and just try to put positive stuff out there. You know what I mean? It's like, It's crazy. I got some great people around me who are very similar, and I think we all just kind of do our best to put some beauty out into the world, man. Whether it's with music or it's art or it's animation or it's film or it's video content and whatever else people are making, you know, we do our best, and that's what we got to do, man. Oh yeah, I mean, thank you so much. Jeez, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I'm so glad to hear that. You know, it's just been crazy, man. Yes, 100%, man. And also Jehovah Jireh. Jireh is a big one for me. But I think about, and Michael and I have talked about this a bit, but I think about Eric, who's another one of my brothers, Eric Weathers. It's like Eric is in Kansas, you know, Michael is in Australia, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to just hang out and talk art with them. You know, just, you know, we set up a StreamYard. It doesn't even broadcast or whatever. We just kind of can go in and we could talk art, you know. And there's artwork of my brothers that they've done that just lives in my head, you know, like a Sherlock Holmes piece, for example, like a shirt design. And it's like, I think about stuff like that sometimes, and it invigorates me, man, you know. Yeah, man. Yeah, and the audience too. Well, see, it's crazy. We are the audience, right, man? I mean, we are the audience, you know. God bless you. Let's see here. Yeah, and it's like, I tell you this, man. We're doing some of the coolest stuff, and I love that people are like, I'm living in a time to where I've got so much crazy reference material around me that I can use, you know, to look at. Whether like there's action figures that are designed so that I can actually light them. I have like a NECA Boris Karloff figure over there that I can use to get lighting whenever I'm doing Frankenstein work, or, you know, I even have a Bela Lugosi that looks like Bela Lugosi, and I can use all of this stuff to get what I need to get done. And you guys know, it's like you can record music on your computer, you can even mix it now, and that's stuff that we couldn't even consider doing. We're cutting trailers. You know, we're making intro videos. You know, even the cheerleader video I made, it's like, whenever people send super chats, I wanted to make it fun. And I've got a ton of stuff planned for you guys on this channel too. I want to definitely, people have been talking about it, and I'm going to definitely, I think I'm going to start doing some, well, I mean, I'm doing them already, but some StreamYard streams. But some of my brothers and I, like, we've been talking about just like how, you know, there's just some stuff that, like, it's like we want to do more stuff, do some video stuff. And I think I'm going to bring the Waffle Lodge back and invite some of the folks, you know, when they have time, they feel like being on it, like Bancroft and you know, Eric Weathers and Vaughn and some of the cats that I've been sort of running around with. And just kind of you know, keep it positive, keep it fun, and talk about art. You know what I mean? Talk about all, you know, of the stuff we're doing, you know, Rob Arnold, all those cats, you know, that I've been talking to forever. But it's like, and also people like Narwhal, if he wants to pop on, things like that, you know. And it's just, I just think there's so much stuff I want to do, you know, so many things that we have the opportunity to do, and I don't want to miss any opportunities to spend time with you guys and do what we do here, because Comicsgate has been really big for me. And finding the people that I've known my whole life, in a weird sense, you know, going to comic shops and conventions and being interested in all this stuff, and, you know, talking artwork and things like that. YouTube has been really great for all of that, and so have all of you guys. You know, that's what it is. What is up, Dan? Yeah, and don't forget, yeah, of course, Dan. What are you? Don't forget me. I'm not gonna forget you, Gross Point Dank. I got you, baby. Yeah, man, that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing. Of course, Dan. Jeez. Narwhal is awesome. Yeah, he is. And guys, by the way, speaking of Dan Lawless, Dan, you are a mod. Have you dropped the link to your channel? For any of you guys who want some really great art lessons, Dan is showing you his process of drawing now on his channel. And he has been posting stuff regularly and consistently on his channel. I'm not going to throw stones at myself at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to hold me to it, guys. Say, where are those streams, Enjeti? It's good for my soul. But yes, guys, drop a link to Dan's channel for me. Dan is awesome. I have a lot of books and a lot of artwork near me. It's important. It kind of keeps me inspired. You know, I've got the proofs to my first 2 art books here, the proof to Nosfero, but one of the pieces that I have right nearby is this beautiful Von Klaus Terror in the Trenches character, or his take on Terror in the Trenches by Dan Lawless. The man, Grosse Pointe Dank. Look at this. I think it is one of the most beautiful, and Dan has done some bangers. He's done some outstanding pieces. But this is for my money because it's right up my alley. It's pulp. This is one of my favorite Dan Lawless pieces. I love it. It's breathtaking. And I actually have to be honest, I would love for Dan to talk to all of the creators he's done work for and crowdfund before he, like, plan the campaign out, but crowdfund the Comicsgate art of Dan Lawless. I would love for Dan to put out a book called The Comicsgate Art of Dan Lawless. I think he's probably done about 20 pieces by now. But if he hasn't, he sure has probably got some sketches and some crazy stuff. I know he did a Nosfero piece, and he's just done tons of stuff. But yeah, I want to see a Comicsgate Art of Dan Lawless book. That would be a hell of a cool thing to crowdfund and to launch. I bet there'd be so many people who would give you their blessing to use the artwork you've done for them and put it together in such a book. I think people would flip over that, Dan. So ponder that, Dan. There's a lot of love for you in the chat, man. There's a lot of love. Of course, I will freaking invite you. Don't even worry about that, man. Of course. Sure, get that out. It's the fun thing about acrylics. Every now and again, I get a little paint on there I don't want. But yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing. This piece required almost no pre-press adjustment. Very professional, Dan. That's right. That's right. There you go. Yeah, it's because the pre-press by Bancroft was there. I'd buy one. I would too, man. I would absolutely do it too. Guys, please let me know if you think my tutorials are effective. Yeah, I think they're great, man. But what do I know? I only taught, at the college level for 18 years. I still need to watch the tutorials. Yeah, they're great, man. Yeah, Dan, I mean, just ponder. I'm sure that Michael might even have some great ideas for, just in terms of layout and design, because Mike's got some crazy, design abilities and book abilities and things like that too. But there's people around here who would love to back that book and back an art book of your stuff, man. Because people love those finishes. The stuff you've done for Phil, the stuff that you've done. Gosh, you've done so much stuff, man. You've done so much stuff in this space. The piece you did for Rini, that would just be killer, dude. People would want to buy it too. People would want to buy it. And here's the other cool thing, Dan, because I know you're working on a book and things like that. Now, granted, I didn't do this as a part of Comicsgate, but when I crowdfunded, because they weren't comics, we were not what we are now. But I was inspired by Comicsgate. That's why I funded them on Indiegogo to do 2 art books. It's a great way. Oh, yes, that Private American cover. That's the cover I have of it, actually. Yeah, I love that. And, the Two-Fisted Manly Tales cover, too, which is great. But I have the Private American somewhere around here. Unless I put it back into my short box. I'm not sure. But yeah, man, it would show people, too. It's good to tell people, when I did Nosfero, to say I've funded, printed, and fulfilled 2 art books. Now, I'm not saying you have to do 2 art books, but if people doing an art book before you launch your comic and having people say, okay, I get a product from Dan Lawless, even if it wasn't the biggest campaign in the universe, but it could still be pretty cool, pretty big, and might, God willing, be manageable, but also bring in some cash. It could just be a really cool way to get into that groove with people. Yeah, I own that Private American cover too. Yeah, it's a great one, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not an artist, but I watch them anyway. That's right. That banger Private American cover. It's so good, man. Yeah, it's so good. So, Dan, think about that, dude. Like, think about what, what you could do with that. Reach out to people, and say, hey, or, is it cool? I'll make sure I have your copyright. You own this character and everything like that. But I just really want to, you know, get a book out there in CG of, you know, the Comicsgate artwork of Dan Lawless. People would freaking show up for that in a New York minute. They would love it. Yeah, man. And you definitely have my blessing to, you know, and I can even get you some more reference. I don't remember if you even like had the whole character design, but of course you could use that piece you did of Nosfero. As long as you got the, you know, copyright Shaun of the Jetty in there, man, you have my blessing to use that in that art book. Go for it, dude. Yeah, Dan, I love your Christopher Reeve Superman 100%, man. Dan is the man. I say it all the time. Yeah, do you see all the love in the chat, Dan? See what a pain in the rear end I am with all this stuff, man. So hey, listen, guys. It's 3:47 in the morning here, and yeah, family's gonna be getting up in a little bit, about an hour or so. So I'm gonna wrap up. But let me just say this, guys. Let me just say this, because this is the thing. This is what all this stuff is about, guys. It is such a privilege and a pleasure to be able to have you guys come into these streams, be in this space. Those of you guys who are channel members, those of you guys who send super chats, thank you again. And those of you guys who back Nosfero and back all the projects I do, you know, I meant what I said in the back of the book. You guys pay for brushes, you pay for paints, so that I'm able to do this, and so this is possible for my family and I. Oh, and Shane is streaming. Very cool. So if you guys, you know, if you guys have not yet thought about how important you are to this process and how much I appreciate you, think about it now. Know that I do. I am so grateful for you guys. And yes, go check out Shane Davis's stream, my brother in train, Shane Davis. And I will catch you guys very, very soon. As always, let me say this. Speak easy, stay gold, and keep the faith. And of course, my name means peace. So please, peace for all of you guys. And yeah, thank you guys for always being here and checking out these streams. It's an honor and a pleasure to create artwork for you. So God bless you too, man. God bless all you guys. Yeah, you guys are the best. Take care. I will see you guys soon. Go check out, yeah, absolutely, Aldian's music. Please do. It's we got the link in the chat, and yeah, go check out that music and check out Michael's stuff. And take care, guys. And with that, I'm gonna play the credits for my channel members. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Stay gold, Comicsgate. Peace.